LeBron James just completely exposed Victor Wembanyama after his shocking NBA Finals meltdown. What he revealed left fans completely stunned and sparked massive debate across the entire basketball world. And what he said will absolutely shock you to the fullest.
Unfortunately, they sent a boy to do a man's job.
But here's where the conversation takes an even more dramatic turn. It wasn't just LeBron's comments that fueled the debate. Suddenly, basketball analysts, former players, and fans across social media were all asking the same question. Was Victor Wembanyama truly ready for the pressure of the NBA Finals? The expectations surrounding him had reached unbelievable levels, making every mistake look even bigger under the spotlight as the series unfolded. Critics pointed to missed opportunities, late-game struggles, and moments where San Antonio's offense simply couldn't find its rhythm. Some believe the pressure of the championship stage exposed areas of Wembanyama's game that still need development, while others argue that every young superstar goes through painful learning experiences before reaching greatness. Regardless of which side fans supported, one thing became clear. The debate over Wembanyama's future was only getting louder. The discussion became even more intense as former NBA stars, television analysts, and basketball insiders shared their opinions. Some questioned whether the media had crowned him too early, while others insisted this finals experience would ultimately make him stronger. Instead of defining his entire career, many believe this difficult series could become the motivation that pushes him to improve, silence critics, and return as an even more complete superstar in the seasons ahead.
There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions, but when you prove them wrong, you really don't have to say shit to them.
The arena erupted as fans reacted to every possession, and the energy inside the building reached another level. The biggest reason that moment stood out was because everyone watching had their own interpretation of what it meant. Throughout the series, many people focused on Wembanyama's physical gifts, but others believed the real difference came down to composure, decision-making, and execution during the biggest moments. Brunson entered the finals carrying plenty of doubt from critics who questioned whether he could lead a championship team. Instead of responding with words, he answered through his play, staying calm under pressure and continuing to make smart decisions when the game mattered most. While emotions ran high throughout the series, Brunson remained focused on winning possessions instead of chasing highlight moments. One sequence became a major talking point among fans, with debates breaking out across social media about momentum, confidence, and leadership, whether you agree with the criticism or not. Many observers felt that the finals highlighted the importance of staying locked in until the final buzzer. In the end, the conversation wasn't just about talent. It was about discipline, poise, and performing when the championship was on the line, which is what separates good players from truly great ones.
Compared to anything before, this is the biggest lesson of my life, the biggest learning moment.
And the debate didn't stop there. Soon, some of the NBA's most outspoken personalities began sharing their own opinions, making the conversation even louder across basketball media. Fans immediately started wondering how the rest of the league would respond after watching such a difficult finals performance. The discussion quickly shifted toward what this experience might mean for Wembanyama's future. Some analysts argued that opposing teams would spend the entire offseason studying every possession from the finals, searching for defensive strategies that could slow him down. Others pushed back, saying every young superstar faces moments like this before eventually figuring things out and becoming even more dangerous. The biggest question wasn't whether Wembanyama had the talent. It was whether he could make the adjustments needed to respond when defenses became more physical and every possession carried championship pressure. That's a challenge every franchise player eventually faces as more former players joined conversation. The focus turned toward toughness, decision-making, and leadership rather than raw statistics. Several commentators suggested that the next season will reveal far more about Wembanyama than any regular season highlight reel ever could. Instead of defining his career, this disappointing series could become the turning point that motivates him to improve every weakness, answer every critic, and prove that he belongs among the NBA's elite stars. Sometimes the greatest players are remembered not for avoiding failure, but for how they respond after experiencing it on the biggest stage.
Wemby's in shock right now. It's probably been a long time since he got his ass kicked like this.
Perhaps the biggest debate to come out of the finals wasn't just about the final score. It was about whether Wembanyama simply needs more help around him or whether he still has important parts of his own game to develop. Basketball analysts were split, with some believing a supporting cast deserves more blame, while others argue that true franchise players eventually find ways to overcome difficult situations. Several former players also discussed Wembanyama's style of play, suggesting they would like to see him use his size more consistently around the basket. Instead of settling for difficult perimeter shots, they argued that becoming stronger, attacking the paint more often, and embracing physical contact could make him an even more dangerous player. Others disagreed, pointing out that his unique combination of size, ball handling, and shooting is exactly what makes him such a special talent. A SMOR film study and advanced statistics became available. The conversation shifted toward positioning, shot selection, and decision-making in high-pressure moments. Many observers believe these are normal growing pains for a young superstar. If Wembanyama learns from his experience and continues to improve his strength, confidence, and consistency, this difficult finals could eventually be remembered as the moment that helped shape him into one of the league's most complete and dominant players.
Wemby, as good as he is, he's going to need to get stronger, because when you become a dominant big man, people go to force. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to have a certain mentality, the same mentality that I saw him have, the same mentality that I saw Patrick Ewing have, that Draymond has. He came out with a lot of energy and a lot of effort.
The conversation didn't end there. Many former NBA players began discussing how a disappointing finals experience can shape a young superstar's future. Some argued that every great player eventually faces a painful setback, and what truly matters is how they respond during the following offseason. The biggest question wasn't about talent. It was about growth, determination, and the willingness to improve after falling short on the biggest stage. Other analysts emphasize that championship losses often become the greatest motivation for elite athletes. They suggested that the experience could either fuel Wembanyama's development or expose areas that still require significant work. As the debate continued, attention shifted from statistics to mentality, leadership, and competitive toughness under pressure. The discussion also turned toward emotional control after difficult losses. Several commentators argued that handling defeat with maturity is an important part of becoming a franchise leader. Whether fans agreed or disagreed with those opinions, everyone seemed to agree on one thing. The next season will reveal far more about Wembanyama's character than any highlight or regular season performance ever could, making his response one of the league's biggest storylines.
Look your killer in the face. Look your killer in the face. You gotta look them in their face. By the way, if you lead a court and you don't look me in my face and I just beat you, I actually know that I own you forever, because you couldn't even look me in the face.
The conversation only became more intense as analysts and former players continued debating Wembanyama's response after finals. Some commentators argued that body language and emotional reactions after a tough loss can reveal just as much as what happens during the game itself. Others believe those moments were being overanalyzed and that every young superstar handles disappointment differently. The debate quickly spread across television shows, podcasts, and social media, where opinions varied dramatically. Some personalities questioned whether the pressure of the championship stage had exposed areas Wembanyama still needed to improve, while others insisted that every future legend experiences setbacks before reaching the top. Fans remained divided, with strong arguments on both sides. Attention also shifted toward the league as a whole, with commentators discussing officiating, physical play, and the challenges of competing under the brightest spotlight. Rather than focusing on a single moment, many analysts argued that the entire series would become an important learning experience. Whether the criticism proves fair or not, one thing is certain. The basketball world will be watching closely to see how Wembanyama responds next season, because great players are often defined by how they bounce back after adversity rather than by one difficult series alone.
Wembanyama, it meets all the criteria and has been upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 2.
As the debate continued, every possession from the finals came under intense scrutiny. Basketball analysts broke down the film frame by frame, arguing that the series revealed several areas where Wembanyama still has room to grow. Some believe he relied too heavily on perimeter play, while others suggested he should use his extraordinary size more consistently around the basket against physical defenders. The conversation quickly expanded beyond individual highlights and focused on strategy. Former players explained that playoff basketball is built on adjustments, and once a weakness appears, every opponent spent the offseason studying ways to attack it. Whether those observations are completely fair or not, many agreed that the finals provided valuable lessons for both Wembanyama and the Spurs. Several analysts also discuss how physical defenders can disrupt even the league's most talented players by taking away driving lanes, forcing difficult shots, and making every offensive possession uncomfortable. They argued that the next stage of Wembanyama's development would depend on improving his strength, decision-making, and ability to punish mismatches in the paint while continuing to expand his perimeter skills. In the end, the biggest storyline wasn't that one difficult series defined his future. Instead, it raised an important question that will follow him into next season. Can he study the tape, adjust his approach, silence the criticism, and prove that he can dominate when the pressure is at its highest? The answer to that question could shape the next chapter of his NBA career and become one of the league's biggest storylines.